it's okay for me to go. So I'd like to keep going. Mr. Strader, I would love to be proven false. Can you please provide the sections in the contracts and their wording that proves me false?
Sure. Where would you like to
Mr.
start?
Melching will check
Where would you like to start? You were wrong on FF&E. You were wrong on third-party rentals. You were wrong on parking. You were wrong on sponsorship. You were wrong on house sound. The criminal issue we just pointed out, you were wrong. So which one would you like to go through first?
Sure, you do it.
No, please.
Okay, I don't remember talking about FF&E.
You did.
But let's talk about parking. And so, Mr. Melching, were you wrong in reading the wording from the contract?
I tried my best, Councilmember Strader or Director Strader, to read exactly what the contract says. If you'd like, I can read it again. This is the last sentence of section 6.5. In case I missed it, I won't look at the red line version. I'll make sure I look exactly at the version that was provided by Live Nation and then put into the agenda packet. Last sentence. As part of the ticketing process, Live Nation may charge a customary parking fee for use of general event parking spaces and a greater amount for VIP parking, to be reasonably determined by Live Nation based on comparable venues in Southern California.
Perfect.
Those are the words.
What was the question you asked?
I said, do we only charge money for VIP tickets under this contract?
Correct. So less than, as I testified, less than 10% of the 4,500 parking spaces are paid for. The two classes are guaranteed parking and VIP parking. VIP parking typically deals with PSS, who are box holders. So you asked a question that was designed to elicit support for the assertion that 4,500 parking spaces are being paid for. That's never happened, it never will, and it's not part of the Live Nation proposal. If you would like language, it's funny you're laughing, but if you would like language to tighten this up, suggest it. That's what this is about. But if you're just going to make a mockery of the situation, I'm not sure that how that serves the public.
Mr. Melching, is he correct that there would be only no charge for the general tickets, general parking?
So the gap here, Director Strader, is between what the contract says and between what Mr. Strader says the contracting party is going to do, which are different things. So he's saying they won't charge. I'm saying the contract says they can charge, including for general parking, which is all of the parking, and the VIP parking.
Okay, so you can say that Live Nation will do whatever it's going to do, but I have to go with the contract, sir.
Or you could go with, since 1981, the practice in the city of Irvine.
Thank you, sir. Let's hear
and
the
if you'd like
attorney.
to suggest a
Thank
change,
you, sir.
we're
Thank
happy
you, sir.
to
Let's
make
hear
it.
the attorney. I would love to hear from the attorney. Thank you,
oh,
sir.
okay.
We have indulged
Sure.
you long enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do something wild and crazy here and just speak earnestly and sincerely, which is we've worked really hard on this. We've spent months on this. We feel that when a concern is expressed on the part of the city, we hear it and we try very hard to respond conceptually with language. We're top operators. We exist harmoniously and successfully all over the world with residents, with communities, with charities. We're good operators. We continue to want to work with you here. We're hearing your concerns. We will sit and draft in real time things that may have been missed or where maybe the intent was discussed but it wasn't captured to the fullest degree. In fairness, I think what Mr. Strader is reacting to, and certainly to some extent others on our side, is I think there's some mythology that's being thrown around. This idea that, oh, all of a sudden the city has to pay for parking. No, parking in the berm were in the deal from inception. This idea that Live Nation is going to allow tailgating, that's not in the DCOA. There is a provision about what's going to be permitted in a specifically defined VIP area after 11 p.m. So I think what we're all reacting to is this is a long document. We agree. We've worked very hard on it. There are things that are being thrown around as fact when they're not. And if, you know, to the extent we're glossing over things, allow us to correct that. No, our intent is to do the right thing, to operate at the highest level. And I think I say that on the part of the entire company.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So let's go to the city events. You stated that it was a minimum of 5 city events per year. The contract says a maximum. Did I misread that?
Yes. So the issue comes down to whether the city could host additional events or whether the city has an absolute contractual right to use the venue for city events. And it all comes down to the question of guaranteed number of events, guaranteed revenues, and who is going to pay for the operations. So when you ask the question, it sounds super simple, but it's not. The question is, are they 10 free events where Live Nation is paying for the operations? What question are you asking?
So you were saying that it's a minimum of 5 city events allowable per the contract, but the contract says a maximum.
As I've just said to you, if the city came and wanted a 6th event, there'd be a negotiation over what it would cost to run the 6th event. They wouldn't say, no, you can't have a 6th event. I think that's pretty clear, that there's a guaranteed number, and then there's negotiations over further events. The mayor, who is the board member on this committee, asked, could there be more events? Of course there could. But somebody has to pay for them. So that would be a negotiation.
If I may,
Please.
just interject here, I believe that the rental program that we developed, and we worked very closely with the city on developing it in a way to state and restate the open nature. I believe, and I will double check this, that there's language in there that would allow for additional events subject to availability. So if there's a tension or a conflict, I understand your concern. If something says minimum, or I'm sorry, if something says maximum and you're thinking it's a minimum, that's an easy cleanup, particularly if there's language elsewhere that invites additional events subject to availability.
So yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I don't have time to comb through the contract and check for these other, well, it's probably in another place and all these things. I'm looking at the language right here. This is what I have to do. I also, yeah, I appreciate you saying that Live Nation is working in earnest and all that, but your representative came out here and just started insulting me as soon as he came out. Is that really, does that comport with what you just said?
Okay. Councilwoman Strader, Board Member Strader, that's not about the DCOA. I mean, it's obvious from your posting on social media and the fun you have at every council meeting that you have a problem with me directly. That's great. The residents of Irvine have had an amphitheater here since 1981. I'm glad you asked the question because everybody, when you guys count the number of people here today at Tuesday on a work day, it ignores something important. There was a press release that went out this week. A poll conducted by FM3 Fairbanks, a worldwide respected pollster, polled 400 residents of the city of Irvine. There was 81% support for the amphitheater. So that's what this is about. This isn't about people who show up to meetings, about the inner. I have the FM3 press release, executive summary. I'd even be happy to provide you with crosstabs,
Please provide that as well as the methods that they use. Absolutely. Because I have to say that I'm quite skeptical based on what I'm hearing and looking at the tenor of the agreement.
Sure. Well, counting 29 people in the room is much more scientific than a poll, so.
Sure.
There you go.
So, so is this also dealing with the council in earnest, ma'am?
I'm sorry?
Is this also an example of dealing with the council in earnest?
I don't understand your question.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just trying to focus on the deal and trying to move the needle forward.
I see. Okay, well, let's see. You said I said a bunch of wrong things, but we started off with the first issue, the parking, and that didn't really pan out. So
yes, you were incorrect on that.
I think that I'm probably ready to move on.
Would you like to go through sponsorship, find out how you were incorrect on that one?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Yes?
I have some questions to ask Mr. Chi. You're welcome to stay there if you want, but...
So, did you want to go through sponsorship that you were incorrect on, or were you dismissing it?
We're all done, sir.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.